But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
You did. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, Brett Walsh. This is the 9x9. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. My name is Rob St. Clair in Chicago, joined by Everett Delorme from north of the border in Toronto. And Everett, I'm very pleased to announce that I'm still alive. I am still alive. I thought that my very own life, my livelihood was at serious risk there for a moment, as we'll get into. But I'm still alive, and here we are doing a show. So that's good news. Yeah, I would have had to retire from the internet. The memes would have just been too much for me to overcome. That's right. A week from today, we'll be doing a show after the gold medalists are crowned. It's going to be pretty crazy, but there's still a lot of volleyball to be played between now and then. And you know what? I thought we were going to go in chronological order based on yesterday, then today. Let's not. Let's start with the USA. Let's start with the USA. Oh boy. Oh my bad, Everett. I had you muted there for a second. Now I think everything is all good now, so the people should be able to hear you. It's okay. We were just commiserating about how I almost passed away, and now everything is fine, and you can all hear Everett just fine. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the USA almost getting reversed swept by Turkey, but we got away with it 15-12 in the fifth. The set scores were 25-21, 25-17. Looked like we were doing great there. Then Turkey had turned it around 22-25, 19-25, and then 15-12 for the United States in the fifth. The Discord was explosive. I had to put my phone away and like turn off the Discord in the fifth set.
You felt the other side. You felt the other side of it, didn't you?
I did. I did for a real second there. Yeah, good joke in the chat. I found a new way to talk over you. No, my bad. I thought I pressed unmute. It didn't work.
And at one point too, I forget, it was one of our Finnish friends was commenting. He was like, "It's always funny how our North American friends get so triggered when their teams are get knocked out." And I was like, "Yeah, it's funny because our teams are actually in the tournament." So
Ooh.
that was me backing you up there, because I know the fire that can come on to you when your team is losing on the Discord.
Yes, when your team's losing on the Discord, it's not a very fun place to be. But otherwise, the Discord is a very fun place to be. So you're going to want to join that. The link's in the description. Everett, let's get into this. USA versus Turkey. It was really kind of a tale of two teams. First two sets, I thought we looked perfectly fine. I mean, 25-21, 25-17. That's about what we expected. We kind of knew the scouting report on Turkey. I mean, we saw what happened versus Canada. We saw Turkey play in pools. We saw a good team like Italy, how they played that matchup. Beat him 3-0. I thought we did a good enough job against Addis Lagumzia early. Then the turning point to me was that very confusing, to say the least, call in the third set. TJ DeFalco and Jeff Jendrick stuff blocked Lagumzia on the right side. The ball went so straight down off DeFalco's right arm that it went into the top of the net tape, which is something that we see all the time. And then it hit the floor, and it was called USA's point. Turkey had challenged for a net violation, and we saw the review. To me, it couldn't have been more clear that the ball hit the tape after the block, and neither of the players on the United States side were anywhere close to the net. But somehow the video replay overturned that and called the net violation that was not there. And that really kind of swung the momentum of the match. At least that was about the point where it turned. I'm not going to blame that for the USA losing the following two sets, but that was about the point where it turned.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was so anticlimactic the first two sets that I wasn't even watching. Right, like I had the AVP Chicago on my big TV. I just had the game on the laptop. Was hanging out lazy Sunday morning and afternoon. Like, let's watch some volleyball. It was a great time. And then Sam, my girlfriend, looks over. At one point she goes, "Oh man, the U.S. is really losing." I looked over. I was like, "What is going on here?" And then just as I watched, and I was just like, "Okay, like they're just gonna drop this set. They'll bounce back in the fourth." But Turkey started going. Like they started running. Their entire team started playing. Lagumgia was making some incredible shots. And it had me nervous. It had me nervous. I am a de facto USA fan now that my team is out. So always got to cheer for the Norsika team. But so yeah, it had me nervous watching that one.
Yeah, my heart rate was through the roof. I got to give Adis Lagumja a ton of credit, man. 31 points, 29 for 58 attacking. So 50% kills on huge volume. I don't even know if Namir has had 58 attempts in a match yet this tournament. That's a big number. 379 efficiency for Lagumja. And I was impressed by his range. I've always kind of thought of him as a line hitter. He's kind of a high line guy, wrist away. He'll hit line, he'll hit Langle, like he'll hit really to the outside of the outside blocker, I think, most of the time, or high off hands. But he was ripping balls inside the block cross court. He was lighting it up from 2-2, even out of the back row, like inside two blockers, really putting balls away clean until, Sparas said it after the second set timeout. We're like, well, this Lagumja guy is really good. I think we could do a better job slowing him down. If there's one way Turkey's going to get back into it, it's going to be on his shoulders. And obviously it was. There in situations when everybody knew where the ball was going to go. That's what a great opposite can do against three guys in front of you. You can still score points. And it was crazy because, I knew, you knew, everyone watching knew who the ball was going to. Got six hands up in front of him, and he was still scoring. And he deserves a lot of credit. Actually, team-wise, the two team offensive efficiencies on the match, 338 for the United States, 343 for Turkey. So very close, but I think technically that's a superior offense that Turkey ran, even with Micah Christensen back. I was surprised by that.
Superior offense or just one player, because you look at it like Subazi and Gungor on the left side had less attempts together combined than Lagumja, right? And combined they have combined 23 points compared to Lagumja's 31. Like they weren't doing like it was one of those scenarios. And I remember in times talking about some of the great players like Hector Soto, and it's kind of like one of those things like you can mark an X on the spot where they're going to hit every single time, but that doesn't mean you're going to dig it, and that doesn't mean you're going to stop it. And that's exactly what Lagumja was today. Like he was a one man wrecking crew, but big ups for the rest of the Turkish team to kind of rally around him and provide that support, kind of a la Netherlands.
Yeah, I agree. I was impressed by Turkey. I think once they get the outside hitters that they have that are not healthy right now, once they get like F.A. Mandaraja, F.A. Byram back, the team's going to be really, really good. And they deserve a lot of credit for pushing the United States to 5. But, back thinking about my team, boy, was I scared about this. Oh, man. Matt Anderson, once again, not particularly good. He was subbed out in the fourth set. TJ DeFalco struggled with a couple too many attacking errors kind of after that call in the third set that went against him personally. And I actually texted him after the match. He said he's still mad about that call, like to this very moment. I'm glad he'll have like 3 full days to get over that before our next match, because it seemed like the guys were kind of rattled by that. But you know who wasn't? David Smith. Smith led the team in scoring, 17 points, 14 for 18 attacking, sky-high efficiency, and 3 stuff blocks. What a monster.
Dude, first and foremost, do you remember after the 2021 Champions League finals when Smith was getting subbed off for Reino in the finals, and we were just kind of like, you know what, Smith's kind of done. And then I remember he turned around and signed another 2-year contract with Zaxa, and I was like, what's he doing? Like, what's Zaxa doing? Like, Smith is washed. He's over the hill. I don't know. And he wasn't that fantastic for Team USA last year. I think he was pretty good, but something happened to David Smith over the summer. I don't know if he got like an Iron Man transplant, maybe, a little bit of Captain America booster in him. Like I've seen him dress up as Captain America before for his son and stuff like that. But David Smith was the go-to guy. Anytime in the fifth set when they needed to kill, they were going to David Smith. Micah was forcing him off the net, and he was just killing the ball. What has happened to David Smith? Like seriously, like it has just been unbelievable to watch. Like hands down the best American today.
For sure. We got to check those hearing aids for some performance enhancing drugs or something.
Seriously, man. Like what's going on?
The dude's remarkable. He was great. He blocked a couple very, very clutch balls. There was a huge one against Legumja in the 5th set that he roofed straight down, that a point that we really needed. And then he served the ball well too. I think it because it was 12-12 and we ended up 15-12. I think that was on Smith's serve, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody fact check me on that in the chat, but
it was Smith's serve. You're right.
Oh yeah, we're looking at it in the score. So yeah, he side out and went back and put 2 really good serves in. The dude's awesome, and a huge asset in the middle for the U.S. We probably wouldn't have gotten this one done in the end without him. Also got to credit Eric Shoji again. I wish we had better stats for liberos. We've got to get get better stats for liberos, but his passing percentage just has to be off the charts. He's the only guy that can really absorb the best serve from any team, any player, and at least give you a chance. And although Turkey had 0 aces for the match, which I was surprised by, but towards the end of the match, we kind of struggled to pass the ball inside the 3-meter line. There was a lot of shaky reception moments there, and we even saw Garrett Wangatusia start the 5th set, which as soon as I heard that, I was about to throw my phone out the window. That was absurd.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Like we saw TJ come out in the 4th. I would have thought that they would have brought TJ in to start the 5th. At least so that if he's still struggling, service receive isn't there, then you can bring Maukatia in. But there was a point where Garrett was making errors and
hit
was
2 horrible recycle balls right into the middle of the block and got
absolutely. And it was what are they doing? They did show TJ on the sidelines. It's why are they not bringing in DeFalco there? Is that a worry to you that you're going off to the bench, you're going away from one of your best players in the 5th set like that?
I am concerned about that because there's a point in the chat. Anderson was the man in the 5th set, and he was. I wouldn't say he was very good throughout the whole match. He got benched in the 4th, but like you do to your guy, you bring him back in to start the 5th set. You get a feel for early in that set what you're going to get out of him, and if it's good, you feed that man. That's exactly what we did. Let me see if I can pull up Anderson's numbers for the 5th set alone. Yeah, 5 points. He was our best scorer in the 5th set, and we needed him to be, and he had a clutch ace serve as well. That's exactly what I wanted to see happen to TJ DeFalco. 100%. TJ DeFalco is going to be our guy. Whether it's now or whether it's in the pretty near future, he's going to be the guy. And because we put Magatutia in there, we put ourselves then into 2 or 3 very bad rotations when he was in the front court. We struggled to side out of those rotations when he was in the front court. And that's exactly like you're saying. You put TJ in. If his serve receive is shaky, maybe you make the move. But I thought that exchange came out negatively for us, losing a couple very bad attack points on Magatutia's end that I think TJ DeFalco, despite a rocky sets 3 and 4, he would have made better plays there.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, looking at his points, he scored 4 points in the first, 4 points in the second, and then only 2 points in the third, and no points before in the 4th being pulled off. And that's kind of when he started to struggle. But still, his numbers weren't terribly bad. 9 for 14 with 9 for 26 with 3 errors.
That's not so good.
Yeah, that's actually not so good. I was reading that stat line wrong there for a second. So maybe he just wasn't feeling it. But yeah, I would have liked to see Sparrow because as you're right, he's one of your guys, and he's going to be one of the guys for the future, if not the guy. So let's let him work through these situations in this one. But at the same time, maybe growth isn't necessarily the best place to happen in the round of 16 of the World Championship.
I agree with that, but I do think that he would have given us the best chance to win. Regardless, the USA does survive 15-12 in the 5th. We move on, and now we get the matchup that everyone kind of wanted to see. Anything else about the USA match before we move on to the other side of the bracket there quickly?
No, just that I'm happy. I'm happy you guys won. Micah looked really good in this one. Great. He didn't look hindered whatsoever, which is
the play that he made on match point. Oh my God,
that match point was ridiculous.
Jeez, yeah, the dig by Anderson, like a diving, sprawling, layout one-hander from Micah that ended up being a perfectly hittable ball for Aaron Russell. That was sick. So great way to win it. And it is good to have Micah back, and everyone was freaking out, but I said on the last show that I really didn't think that his tournament was over, and it's not. And so now we get 3 full days off before we play again in the round of 8 on Thursday, and you can tell, or you would think, that he's going to get even healthier in that time.
Hopefully he just goes back to the lazy boy, gets the Normatec out, just does some icing, stays off it, right? He doesn't need reps. You know, he doesn't need to stay warm. He doesn't need to do morning serve and pass. Just let the man rest. Just let the man get a little bit of load management and get him ready for Poland against Poland on Thursday, because you know that match is going to be an absolute banger. You're going to be playing out. You're going to be playing it in front of a rabid, sold out Polish fans, and everyone in that gym knows that this is the real rematch, right?
Oh yeah.
Pool play doesn't really matter if you don't have Micah out there. It doesn't really matter. You know, the Chicago Bears don't celebrate when they beat the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. It's the same thing if you're beating Team USA without Micah Christensen, right? So Thursday matchup, everyone in the volleyball world knows it.
That's right. Yeah, 11,000 spectators for the Polish match tonight versus Tunisia. And yeah, I would think that on Thursday it's going to be even higher. So let's talk about that really quickly. Poland 3-0 Tunisia, 25-20, 25-15, 25-20. Not really anything surprising here. Nothing really to talk about. Poland had 9 aces and 5 blocks in 3 sets. That's a lot. Poland hit 44-41 as a team. And Tunisia, not bad. They made some good plays at points. I was actually really impressed by their libero play. But it was never going to be enough. They were never going to beat Poland. This is just a formality.
Yeah, 100%. Semenyak pretty good in this one. 11 for 16, only 1 fault, right? Just continuing that stellar play, adds a block and an ace in it. And yeah, I mean, Poland just looks so good. Obviously, they're not getting the matchup that the USA had in round 1, but they took care of business, and that's what they needed to do.
I don't really think there's any much more to say about it.
No, not really. I mean, this one was fun because I got to learn some of the Tunisian guys. That's about it. That's all I know from this one.
Again, I was rather impressed by Tunisia given the situation. We weren't expecting them to beat Poland. I wasn't expecting them to take a set, but there was some moments of pretty good volleyball in there at points.
100%. And I mean, like, I hate to say it, but I think Tunisia had a better showing than Canada would have. Right? No, given what we saw to Team Canada throughout this World Championships, trust me, it kills me to say this, eating me up on the inside. But yeah, I think Tunisia just had a better showing than Canada would have. On paper, I think we're a much better team, but Tunisia came to play and we didn't.
Yeah, fair enough. A reminder that Tunisia even got to play this match and Canada went home by a margin of 2 points. 2 points on the volleyball court, and Tunisia gets the privilege of a participation cookie against Poland. And but that's it. So Poland versus USA on Thursday. Huge match. We'll break down that preview on Tuesday's show, so we don't need to spend that much time about it here. Everett, is it time for the other side of the bracket?
Yeah, let's jump over it. Yesterday's matches were a little bit more interesting. I mean, in general, no 5-setters. Started with Slovenia versus Germany, and I mean, we saw Slovenia absolutely pump the Germans in pool play. Sucks that I would have loved it that they had made a clause where, like, you can't match up with the same team from your pool, because like that just sucks for everyone that Slovenia and Germany had to play once again. But Germany looked good, but at the end of the day, Slovenia held their own.
Slovenia held their own. I thought they played great. Again, 11,000 fans in the crowd. Dude, the atmospheres for the home teams in both sides this tournament have just been off the charts. And I wish that would be the case for every match of every team instead of just the home teams. But when it happens, it's pretty magical to see some of these home crowds. Set scores here: 25-18, 25-19. Then Germany grabbed one, 25-21. Slovenia took the fourth, 25-22. I thought Germany hung in there fine. The real difference in the stat sheet for me was 12 unforced hitting errors from Germany. And that's not including being blocked 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that the Germans just couldn't handle the pressure. They just don't have that one guy to go to. Weber was back in this one with a severely taped up hand.
Dude,
I mean, that thing.
How can he play with that?
That
thing
looked like hand contact. A club, especially to the way he carves the ball. Like, he's not too much of a club hitter. He loves carving that ball. He comes around that ball so he can hit it low underneath the block and go that sharp cross from the right hand side. So I thought it was severely hindering him in this one, but he still looked not bad out there with 17 points. Overall stat line of 15 for 36, but 9 errors. 9 errors is where that wad of tape on his hand really hindered him.
Yeah, and I mean, I give him credit for at least going out and trying to play. His team needed him to. They were a different team in pool play when we saw them kind of run 3 outside hitters. They were just never really going to get anything done there. But yeah, I couldn't believe that he could even make hand contact. I remember in college I did something similar. I jammed my thumb real bad and was like wearing tape on it around my thumb and around my wrist, and I could not make hand contact on the ball, make it spin, make it go anywhere I wanted to. So I couldn't believe he could even like hit the ball in the court sometimes. But yeah, Slovenia at home, they were awesome. Clement Chebel led the match in scoring, 19 points, 14 kills, 2 blocks, 3 aces. Tine Earnout on his birthday, 45% efficiency. That was pretty good. Slovenia hit 300 as a team. I thought it actually might have been a little bit better than that, but Germany just barely over 200 as a team. And yeah, I think Slovenia was better. We even got to see a little bit of Rok Mozic in the fourth, and Germany is kind of in an identity crisis mode. They need that guy. They just need that guy, and it's got to be Weber, and he's got to be healthy, and he wasn't.
Yeah, and the reality is that after watching Weber now in the Super League a little bit and getting to see him live in person in Ottawa, like, they're taking such a big step back with Weber after Gregor Grosjean, and I think that it has to be said. But you know what? When you look at especially the left sides on that German roster, they're just all lateral moves. Sure, each one brings like a different step, but no one is truly ahead above the rest, which is a little interesting. For that German roster.
Yeah, that's well said, and they really used all 4 of them. We saw Reichert, we saw Schott, we saw Fromm, we saw Karliczek, like all really pretty interchangeable. And yeah, I totally agree with you. They're all a little bit of a different play style, but none of them is really a level above any of the others. I think they're all like B tier, like global players at best. And then the middles, like I still don't understand why Florian Kraga is playing over Lucas Massa in the middle on this team. Both Kraga and Kriek made these just like dumb, brain dead, like head scratching errors some of the time. Like Kraga hit a couple serves this tournament that are probably still flying through the air as we speak.
I wonder if that has anything to do with Massa's wanting to play right side, or the fact that he's traditionally been a right side. Maybe he was slotted in, like, but then at the same time, like, they didn't even use him on the right side. They had Karliczek on there.
Exactly.
So it was interesting. Rob, before we get to the last matchup with Cuba and Italy, Ryan mentioned something in the chat here that I kind of want to discuss, but he's like, at least Canada doesn't lose any world ranking points for losing this match and dropping farther. What do we think about that? For like a team like Tunisia and a team like Germany that had the same amount of that's a same record as Canada, even though like technically they might lose more points by going further in the tournament because they have one more game to lose and thus more minus points on their rankings.
That's such a good point. So Tunisia, the world rankings are already updated. Tunisia is still ranked 19th in the world. They did lose 1.4 points today for losing to Poland. And under the new system, the only thing that gets you points is winning or losing matches. Mm-hmm. Where you finish in a tournament has nothing to do with your world ranking, which is the exact opposite of the old system, which was exclusively due to where you finished in tournaments. So it was kind of like we talked about around VNL earlier this summer. And I think that Tunisia benefited from not playing VNL because they were just going to play VNL, lose a bunch of matches. You don't get anything for participating. Not to joke about the Cuban spike thing, but there's no thanks for participating in the world ranking points. It's every match you play, you win, you get points, you lose points. And so maybe our buddy Ryan's got a point. Maybe Canada would have lost to Poland, and because Canada right now is ranked 15th rather than 19th, they would have lost a couple of points for losing that match. It wouldn't have been anywhere near the severity of losing 12 points for losing to Turkey at 3-0. So
yeah, that's like, I think that's some of the most points we've lost like ever. Like we lost 12 points again when we lost to Germany at the beginning of the VNL. So yeah, and another 13 when we lost to Mexico last year. But that was like a Mickey Mouse tournament, so it's kind of garbage. But whatever, we won't talk about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff about the world rankings, the new way that they are, and I think I like that every match matters now, but I think there should be a middle ground of like Tunisia shouldn't be punished for going further in the tournament. Is my take.
No, and I fully agree, right? Like, I think there should be some points allotted for where you finish in a tournament. Like scale the system so that your tournament finishes matter, but then also the results within the tournament matter too.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to do that. Same thing for Germany. I mean, Germany gets smoked by Slovenia twice, and they lose a total of 10 points across those 2 losses.
Yeah, that's not, but I mean, at the same time, they also got like 8.81 points for a win over Cameroon, which is like, really?
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, 8.8 plus 8.81 for a win over Cameroon. Whereas beating Australia only, beating Australia only gave them plus 4.14.
All right, you don't. All right, you shouldn't be getting 8 points for beating Cameroon. There's something going on here. I
Yeah.
don't love that.
I mean, Australia is ranked below Cameroon, but still, like, yeah, that's there's all we're saying here is there's some things to be done here with the world ranking system.
Yeah, and I think with the seeds in this tournament, the tournament format here as well, there's definitely some things to be tweaked that we can talk about later on the show. Let's talk about the last match though, Everett, that did happen. This was yesterday. Italy beat Cuba. Cuba did take a set, but I mean, Italy was the better team. This isn't all that surprising. Set scores 25-21, 21-25, 26-24 in the third, and then 25-18, pretty clean for Italy in the fourth. So Italy advances. They'll take on the winner of France and Japan. This was not the cleanest match I've ever seen. The team offensive numbers are pretty rough. 263 as a team for Italy, 198 for Cuba. Italy blocked 12 balls. And in addition to that, Cuba hit the ball straight out of bounds 17 times in 4 sets.
Cuba, like they had set point, like they in that third set, like that third set is what killed them. They came all the way back. They got the tie up at 24 all, and they just let it slip away. And this is a team that's they're so Jekyll and Hyde. They play some fantastic points, some fantastic defense, and then the next set you'll have like a bad set that's over, and just the other team is going to recycle it and kill it on you. Like they've got so much talent, but they just don't know what to do with it. But at the same time, like you've got Lopez out there only with 3 points in this one. He was 3 for 15 with 6 errors, right? That's some Eric Lepke numbers from when they played Italy, right? Like that's bad. Like Simone is only getting 12 sets in a 4-set match. He was 9 for 12, like a 75% hitting percentage, and they're not giving him the ball, right? They give so much volume to Herrera, and I mean, I get it. He was really good. 19 for 41 with 12 errors, though. Maybe you want to spread around that offense. You know, it's like going to Tim Hortons and getting a bagel, and they're just going to slap on the cream cheese, and all of it falls into the hole. That's like the Cuban offense right now. that was a reference for every Canadian who's ever been to Tim Hortons and gotten a bagel. They know exactly what I'm talking about.
A uniquely Canadian reference. I like that. I mean, it's the same thing that we said with Cuba's last match in pools when they lost to Japan. They have so much like firepower. They have 3 great wings, even 4, because they have 3 pretty good outside hitters, and they have the best middle in the world. But there's such a hard ceiling on that because of how bad their setter position is, and both with location of the ball and decision making and how they run the offense. You've got to give Robert Landry-Simon more balls. Like Everett said, he went 9 for 12, but only 12 balls in 4 sets is not enough. This is the best middle in the world. We've seen what he can do on the club stage when you have, well, significant difference in setter, obviously. But at the very least, I mean, whoever Cuba's setters are, I mean, Goide or Taboada, whoever, on perfect pass, it's the easiest set that you can make. Give Simone the ball and like just let him do his thing. And the distribution was just not good. And I mean, like you said, Cuba clawed back into it in that third set. It was they had to win a point on their serve to get it to 24 all, and they did. And then they had just a horrible set to Herrera that he couldn't hit in bounds that they lost it on. It was they're such a Jekyll and Hyde team.
Yeah, for sure. Just not much defense. Serve receive is questionable, setting is questionable, and they just don't have the mental fortitude yet of those international teams. Maybe might have overestimated them a little bit. Like, you know, they came in blazing, not having lost a match all summer into this World Championships. But let's be honest, that was always against Mickey Mouse teams, and they never really got they never got challenged. Like their biggest challenge was against the USA B team back at the Norseca Final 6 in Mexico earlier this year. That was the only time they went to 5. Other than that, I think they lost 1 set all summer before this World Championships. And you can tell that, like, I really would have loved to see what this Cuban team looked like if they could have pulled off that upset win against Brazil, right? Because they were close. Like they could have done it. They were knocking on the door. They had match points. What happens to this Cuban team and their confidence if they get that first win against Brazil?
Definitely would have been a different bracket matchup too, and yeah. Who knows? I'm excited to see a couple of these Cuban guys, Jesus Herrera in particular, go play in Italy with actual real setters. Herrera is going to go play with Simone Gianelli this year in Perugia, and that's going to be amazing. Somebody talking about Miguel Lopez in the chat. Not only was, like Everett said, his stat line was terrible in this match, but on the tournament, 29 kills and 24 errors. That's like 5.3% efficiency in 4 matches in the tournament.
Yeah, just really not good overall. And I mean, hey, we were all pegging this to be like a coming out party for Miguel Lopez, considering that he plays professionally in Brazil and he's not really in the eye of the volleyball world that much. But just really fizzled out in this one. And there's a few times that he looked really good. Like there's one like 4-4 kill that he had in that match that was just phenomenal. And like the same thing with the setters and Simone. There was a few times where there's flashes like, oh, is that the Checo out there? But then there's the other times it's like, oh, is that me setting when I was 16 years old out there? Like what's going on? Like not even me now. Like I think I might have been able to do a better job, like not physically in terms of like blocking and serving, but I think I could set the ball better than going out there on multiple occasions throughout this World Championship.
I agree. I said the same thing earlier in the Discord earlier in the week. I mean, that's the thing about Cuba. That's what it takes to compete at the World Championship level. You've got to be great, and you've got to do it every point in, point out against a team of Italy's caliber. You've just got to play clean ball consistently, make the right choices, and they've got the talent, they've got the firepower, but they don't have the brain in terms of your setter and your coach. I don't think they have either of those things yet. That's going to put a ceiling on this team. So I'm curious to see what they can do next year as they'll play VNL. They'll be a VNL team, and they'll get a lot of that experience for better or for worse.
It'll be interesting to me to see if Simone plays VNL with them, right? And that to me is going to be an interesting factor. Because you know what, like they're going to be playing VNL. I don't think they're going to get relegated. So do they just go with like a Soria and Concepcion, right? Who's the other guy?
Get Alonso back.
Alonso.
They could survive without Simone and VNL.
I wonder how much not having Alonso really messed things up for them, because he's always been one of their emotional leaders on the court. And he's very fierce and steadfast, and you could just see it on his face. So I wonder how much not having him out there opposite to Simone hurt that Cuban team. But at the end of the day, like everyone's missing players. No one's perfectly healthy, and you got to get the job done. And Cuba just didn't.
Right. Let's talk about Italy. Italy, 12 stuff blocks. So like Everett has said a couple times throughout this tournament, throughout this season, they're, I mean, pretty clearly one of the best blocking teams in the world right now.
In my eyes, they are. In my eyes, they are. And like the stats from VNL shows that as well, that they are hands down the best blocking team. And that's the way they're going to do you. They're going to serve tough, and they're going to trap you into blocking scenarios. They're going to make you initiate rallies, and then they're going to get you on the block. And they're just so good with it.
That's exactly right. I couldn't have said it better. They'll trap you in situations where their block can really shine through. Yeah, 12 blocks in 4 sets is a lot, especially against a team of Cuba's firepower. But their serving numbers, 2 aces to 19 errors, is just not good. No. They've really got work to do in the serving area. And there's a question that we've asked several times this summer, Everett, that I kind of want to ask again. Has the world figured out how to defend against Alessandro Micheletto? 7 for 25 attacking with 3 errors against Cuba in this match.
I mean, we've been talking this about for a while now, where he's just slowly been tapering off and teetering off. And I mean, I think so. I definitely think he's coming into a bit of a sophomore slump. Everyone's got more video on him. And yeah, like it's just I feel like maybe last year, especially during the European Championships, especially, you know, when they're in their run with Trentino, it's always kind of been like, this kid's only 18. How much can he do? And it's always a surprise. Well, he's not a surprise anymore, right? He's not coming onto the court and being like, who's this lanky guy? You know, John Sparrow knows who he is by now. You know, like there's no hiding from it. So yeah, like I think just the things that he was doing so consistently before just are happening as well. I think he needs to bring in a shot or two more into his arsenal just to be able to switch it up a little bit better. But he is so young, and he's still got so much time ahead of him. And, you know, I really think the sky's the limits for this guy.
Agreed. But like Italy is just not right now, not yet, can they really lean on him to be the guy offensively. I mean, I think right now that kind of has to be Yuri Romano, but I don't really trust that much.
No,
Romano this time 14 for 28, 6 errors. I don't know. Like let's say Japan beats Italy, or sorry, Japan beats France in that, or my bad, France beats Japan as we expect across from Italy in that bracket. I don't think this Italian team has a chance against France.
No,
not with this offense.
No, we saw it in the VNL semifinals too, where like France walked all over this team. I think Italy is a very, very good system team, right? They play together very, very well. right? And the once it goes back into the initiate rallies, they're going to block the crap out of you. And of course, they've got some good pins everywhere. Like, we're not saying that they don't have talented players; they absolutely do. You've got one of the top 5 best setters in the world, maybe even a top 3, depending on who you ask. But at the end of the day, they just don't have that guy. Right? There's no Zaitsev anymore. There's no Wantarena. There's no guy who's going to be like, give me the damn ball when it comes down to it. Or like, hey, I'm going to dig us out of this hole. Just set me every single ball. We're going to go to it. They work well in a system, but let's be honest, like, systems break down under stress, and then you need athletes to get it through. And I just don't see that this Italian team doing it. I think they're a type of team that's going to beat every single team that's ranked under them, but they're always going to struggle to beat those teams that are better than them.
Well said. And we'll preview the France matchup if that is what we end up seeing on the next show before the quarterfinals. But I mean, what team is better at initiating rallies, surviving long rallies than France? And what team doesn't have one go-to guy but two between Patry and Ingapet? Like, you always have options there. So yeah, Italy's probably going to struggle with that matchup unless they serve like transformationally better, and they've really got work to do in that area. People talking about Daniele Lavia in the chat, though.
Yep.
I can watch that dude block all day long. I absolutely love watching him block. It's awesome.
I had no idea he was such a good blocker.
He's amazing.
Right? Like he's so strong. He's so solid. There's so much to be said with just being good with a quiet block, right? He just goes up. He presses good. He has a good seal to the net. He takes away space. He's not a massive block. Like, he's not reaching too high, but he's really active and solid with his hands. And just he was just shutting down Cuba all day long.
Great with his eyes. Any blocker can really learn a lot from the way Lavia processes what an opposing hitter is doing with his eyes. That's really good. And I also want to shout out Fabio Balasso. I thought he was awesome. Real bright spot for Italy in this match.
He was just getting pegged,
Dude, he took a couple.
Oh man, it was so frustrating to listen to those. Listen to the commenters like, oh, like, how did he get that? I mean, like, his reading of the game, like, he just puts himself in such a good position. He honestly reminds me of the way he reads and the way he gets himself into position a little bit like Grebennikov. A lot different in terms of how he touches the ball. Like, Balasso just kind of sits in there. He's a bit of a bigger body and just lets it hit him. But he has just such good ball control and such a touch in the ball. And it goes back to kind of what we were talking about at the beginning of VNL when we saw them practicing. Like, Italy's so quiet in everything they do. Their skill on the ball, on the ball is so high. The highest I've ever seen of any team, really. And you can just tell, like, you have to do something so extraordinary to put them under stress.
Yeah, I think that's well said, and we'll see if they can survive a matchup with probably France in the next round. But like we were talking about, you can see the bracket here, and on the other side, there's going to be at least two very, very good teams that will not play in the Final Four of this tournament, and we'll talk about that on Tuesday night's show for sure. But there are potentially two unbelievable second round matches.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, potentially, well, not potentially. You've got USA, Poland on one side. If one of those teams not making it out, that sucks. The other side, potentially Italy, France as well. And I mean, even in that bottom bracket that you see there on your screen, a potential Brazil, Serbia quarterfinal too. Like, that's spicy. That's real spicy. It's only really that upper bracket that Slovenia kind of snuck themselves into that really sucks.
Well, let's talk about those. Let's preview those. There are 4 more round of 16 matches coming up in the next couple of days. But before we do that, Everett, tell the people about that volleyball.store.
Absolutely. If you like what you see here, this is the spicy volleyball shirt with the 9x9 on the back. Head over to thatvolleyball.store. It's the official store for merch for Volleyball Source, Spicy Volleyball, the 9x9. We got a few other lines going on over there. It's a great way to support us. If you like what we do, you want to give us a little bit of money so we can go to more events and check out some more things, hit us up over on thatvolleyball.store. I really think that the Make Volleyball Great series is gonna go off sometime.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great look, especially if you there's a certain hat that you can get that I mean, you can put the rest of the details together.
Let's just be honest. Let's we're not in any way promoting or supporting that old hat. We're just making fun of it, right? We're just making fun of it.
We make fun of a lot of things on this show, and in the Volleyball Source Discord as well. And we've already plugged it once, but I'm going to do it again. It's been an amazing place of discussion for World Championships, even though I thought that the cumulative weight of all of its pure meme energy was going to actually kill me earlier today. But when the USA won, I was back in love with the Discord. It's a fun relationship. We have a great time watching games. So the link is in the description. Get in there. Everett, there are 4 matches to preview, and I think that you and I are in agreement that the 4 matches we just talked about, not quite as exciting, at least on paper, as the 4 that we have coming up. Let's start with the 2 that we're going to watch tomorrow. So tomorrow, the 2 remaining matches in the round of 16 going down in Slovenia. The first one, the 7 versus 10 match between the Netherlands and Ukraine. That's 11:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, so Monday. And then the other one, the 6 versus 11, France versus Japan at 3 p.m. Eastern, also tomorrow. 2 potentially very, very good matches. Let's start off with Netherlands versus Ukraine. What can we expect, and what's your pick?
Nemir versus Plotnitsky.
Yep.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be the righty on the right side, the lefty on the left side, just going toe to toe. Although we have seen Plotnitsky a little bit on the right side with this one too. To be honest, like Ukraine needs to be absolutely bananas from the baseline in this one, right? They need to be going off. They need to somehow take away the option of. They need to do 2 things. They need to quell everyone else and make sure that no one else goes off on them. But they also need to make sure that Nemir can't be as much as an option as he always is. Like he's always going to be an option. But if they can take away Nemir, whether it's from like good serving, good rallies, whatever it may be, like in a free ball situation, you're going to give that ball short to Nemir. So he has to come up and has to takes him out of that offense. If you can take him away out of those situations, maybe 10% of the time, I think you have a chance, right? But the other flip side of that is you have to shut down the other guys. Benny Twinstar can't go off. Payank in the middle can't go off. It really needs to be still Nemir, who's still putting up big points, big numbers, but not as good as before, or not as good as usual.
I think that's well said. And the serving matchup between those two, the 2 leading servers in terms of number of aces of the entire tournament so far, actually the only 2 in double digits. Plotnitsky's got 12 in 3 matches and only 9 errors. That's the crazy part. His serving efficiency is off the charts. Nemir's got 10, but on 22 errors, so he's a little more volatile. But obviously, the potential for him to go on a run is always there. I do think that Ukraine has a pretty nice matchup in the middle. I think Yuri Semeniuk is a good player. And then against, let's see, Plok and Parkinson, probably for the Netherlands. Ukraine can definitely hang in there in that area. But the Netherlands, I can't believe I'm saying this, the other wings for the Netherlands are better than the other wings for Ukraine. No Dmitry Vietsky for Ukraine. So we've seen 2 different opposites, and their second outside hitter has moved around a little bit. But Ole Plotnitsky is going to have to do something special, and he can. But I think right now the Netherlands are the more well-rounded team. I'm going to pick them. I'm going to say Netherlands really likes 5 setters. I'm going to pick that. I'm going to say Netherlands in 5.
Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be honest. The fact that Ukraine is in this position at all is phenomenal. This is a team that didn't even qualify for the tournament. They were given the spot due to Russia and all of that stuff. So fantastic job by the Ukraine, and I think just making it to the round 16 is fantastic. I did, when we did our show the other day, I did pick them as to be the upset, but I mean, let's be honest, I don't really believe that. I'm picking this Netherlands all the way. I don't think you're going to be able to shut down Nemir, all of that. I'm not even going to go 5. I think Netherlands is going to get this done in 4.
Okay. It'll be a really good match regardless. And even like some of the other ones that like Italy, Cuba didn't think was going to be that close. It kind of was. And like Germany took a set from Slovenia. And I mean, obviously we saw the USA-Turkey game today. So anything can happen, but I'm with you. I'm going to pick the Netherlands. Oh, let's talk about France versus Japan. VNL rematch, as I recall. France mopped the floor with Japan that time. And we've talked about Japan several times. Very unique style, unbelievably high skill, unbelievably high speed. But teams that are better than them understand that matchup and can out-execute them in terms of size and firepower and out-of-system attacking and all that. And France, of all teams in the world, is really just built to beat Japan at their own game.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one has the potential to be a good one. I really do. But at the end of the day, I don't know if Japan can put enough sustained stress on France. And to beat France, I really think that you have to really truly overpower them and outplay them. Like you really need to discombobulate them, and it's so hard to do, especially because their setters are just so calm and cool and relaxed. And you talked about how they have kind of two go-to guys, dude. I think that team has seven go-to guys. Seriously, I think every guy, like maybe even eight or nine. I think so many guys on that France roster thinks that they're the guy, and I mean that's just how they are, and they support each other in that. Like obviously you've got Engapeth, but he's still a guy that when you're doing Grabenikov's walkout at the VNL finals, he's dressing up as one of the bodyguards, right? So I think this is a team that just loves to play the villain, and I think they're gunning for it in this one.
I don't see Japan taking a set from France. I'm with you. To beat France, you have to make them so uncomfortable, and that's so hard to do. They're the team of all teams, especially in the current era for sure, since they've won the last two major tournaments, and but even just maybe ever. They're more comfortable in more situations than most teams that I've ever seen, and I just don't know what Japan can possibly do to change that. I think one of the only ways you can beat France is if their second outside hitter, whether it's Clevenot, Tilly, or both, or neither, or whoever, doesn't have a very good game. And so if Japan can do anything, then like Ishikawa and Nishida are going to have to relentlessly target that guy serving and maybe take him out of the match that way. That's the only way I can see it. I expect Bartolomé Chinese to feast in this match. I cannot wait to see his stat line.
Feast, absolutely feast. The reality is in this one is that Ishikawa and Nishida are going to have their best match of the tournament, and possibly their best match of the year, right? And if those two guys can come out and have a fantastic match, and Sakita can run that offense marginally well, like France is going to get their hits. Like France is going to get their shots in, and it's how Japan can keep up, right? If Japan can keep up with them, I think they may have a chance, because especially if you get Nishida going back to the baseline and you're at like a 22-21 situation, if you're up or you're down, like he can serve that set out, right? But he's really the only guy on that roster that I think he can. So the trick for Japan is to take it point by point and stay close to this French team, because if they start rolling, it's done for.
Agreed. And Nishida is really one of the scariest servers in the world. And you're right, at 22-22, he can win you a game just like that. But not against France. I don't see it against France. That's the most gnarly skilled ball control team in the world right now for sure. Maybe even more so than Italy in terms of just pure raw reception ability. Ngapet and Grebenikov especially, those two are just on another level. And I don't see it.
To you for sure.
I don't see it. I think France 3-0. I really do.
I honestly, like, I don't know if you're ever going to be able to match the longevity, but just the way this team plays and the way they move, I'm kind of starting to see like parallels with the 2000s Brazilian teams, just with how dominant they are and how many good players they have everywhere, like, and their level of ball control, the offense that they run, the attitude that they have on the court, the supreme confidence that they walk around with. Sure, I don't think, like as I said, you're not going to be able to compete against the longevity that was that Brazilian dynasty, but I would absolutely love to see Brina, or Jiba and Dante and Ricardo, Sergio go up against like Engapeth and Brizard and Grebenikov. Like, man, I think that would be a fun matchup. Like, you're talking about Lakers versus Bulls. Let's do France versus Brazil, and I think that would be sick.
It's probably the two best liberos of all time, Sergio and Grebenikov. That would be.
Yeah. You can't really disagree with that, right? Like, there's been two liberos who have really like captured their generation, and you're exactly right, Sergio, Grebenikov.
Yeah, if only we had time machines to make those matchups happen. Instead, we're going to get France versus Japan. Yeah, I've got France 3-0. I think we're going to get France versus Italy. I think France has a pretty nice path to the finals here.
Yeah, we talked about it. What was it, on Wednesday? I think they have the easiest path of the finals, all the way. Sure, they have like relatively, like they have somewhat hard quarter or round of 16. On paper, a pretty hard quarterfinal, but I think they just match up with everyone so well. And then playing either Slovenia, Netherlands, or Ukraine, like that's
easy.
let's run the bench on that one, rest them up for the finals.
Yeah, seriously. All right, so that's that side of the bracket. Both those matches, Netherlands versus Ukraine and France versus Japan, going down tomorrow. And on the other side of the bracket, these matches going down in Poland on Tuesday. The first one, actually, a really fun one, Everett. Brazil versus Iran, the 5 versus the 12. And if you're American or watch the NCAA basketball tournament ever, you know that the 5 versus a 12 seed is an almost guaranteed upset at least a couple times a year. So could we see it here? Could we get the 12 seed Iran winning this match? Do you think that's possible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because this Iranian team is good, right? There's no doubt about it. They've got some guys on their roster. Two, this is a very emotional Iranian team. Like, they love playing in big situations. Go back to beating Poland in Poland during the VNL. That was a big one. So yeah, I think if there's one team that can kind of match just Brazil's superiority right now, like I definitely think it's Iran. I think this is going to be a good first round matchup. I think Iran's actually going to win the first set. Like I think they come out and throw a haymaker, and then whatever happens happens after that. But I think Brazil's going to win either 3-1 or 3-2. I want to see a 3-2 matchup just because Iran, similar to the Netherlands, has been going to the 3-2 matchups quite a bit through this tournament. But yeah, I think this one's going to be a bit of a fist fight. Brazil hasn't really seen anything from anyone since having played Cuba. Like, they walked all over Japan and whoever else they played in their pool. I can't even remember. Doesn't even matter. But yeah, like I'm going to be interested to see how they go up against this Brazilian team.
Everett, would you believe that Milad Ebadapor is 7th in the entire tournament in scoring right now?
No, I wouldn't. That's a surprise to me. That's definitely news to me.
That is the case, and which is very different than the Iranian team we saw in VNL this summer. And we talked about it. We saw the just explosion out of nowhere of the big lefty on the right side, Amin. And then we also talked about the last week or two after like the Argentina match and the Netherlands match, that the teams now have film on Amin and they have figured him out. The one player for Iran who has been there before at the elite international level and is kind of the link between the two generations for Iran is Milad Ebadapor. And honestly, I think a player of his type is the one thing that Brazil is missing right now. And I think that if Iran has a chance to beat this Brazilian team, Milad's got to play his game. And I think he can. I think there's a level of intelligence there that definitely increases Iran's average level, because as somebody in the chat made the point the other day, they're the best dumb team in the world. And I think that Brazil is on their way of they're on the downward trend of formerly being one of the great smart teams in the world. Still a smart team, but they're not as good of a smart team anymore as they used to be. Can those two meet in the middle, and maybe Iran can get that one done? I'm not sure.
I just don't think that the Brazil brings the athleticism to the table and the physicality that they used to, right? And especially against an emotional team like Iran, you're going to need that. And I 100% agree. If Ebadapor is putting up these kind of numbers, then he needs to be the guy. But then also you need to get another guy going, right? You need the opposite pins to be going off. Sharifi, or no, sorry, not is it Sharifi? Yeah,
Sharifi is one of their other outside hitters. It's him or Esfandiar, and Sharifi's been better this tournament.
Yeah, so honestly, I think at that point you bring in Sharifi because, in my opinion, he's a better passer than Esfandiar as well. So you bring him to play that P2 role. He's going to be fiery. Like, I think he brings like a little bit of fire and like oomph to that Iranian roster. But at the same time, Amin needs to be going, right? And maybe part of the reason why Milad is having such an easier time is because after VNL, so many teams are setting up to play against Amin, and that's what's shutting him down, and it's opening things up for Milad. Whereas, Brazil is going to have done their video based off the three matches from this tournament, and are probably going to be keying in on Milad as well, also because they know him so much better from all the years against playing against this Iranian team. So for me, Milad needs to get his, but Amin needs to have the best match of his tournament so far.
Totally agree, and I think their new setter's named Vadi. He needs to distribute the ball a little bit better, a little bit more evenly, and in a more timely way. Kind of a much less extreme version of the same problem for Cuba. I think his decision making hasn't been all that good this tournament, and he needs to find the right times to let Milad's experience score points for him, but also keep Amin as hot as he can. And I think that's the balance. And we know that Brazil, they're kind of a fragile team right now. I hope that they start Cachopa. I think we've learned throughout pool play that he is the correct choice at the setter position. But past that, they basically got 7 guys. And if you have to go to the bench, you're in rough shape if you're Brazil. Their outside hitter position after Lucarelli and Leal, big drop off there. Middle blocker position after Flavio and Lucas, huge drop off there with the injuries. Opposite after Wallace, big drop off there. So I think if Iran can get one of those guys subbed off, they honestly have got a chance.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to get one of those guys subbed off just because of the reasons you said. Like, it's either you keep them on or you go to a bench that's just nowhere near as deep. Maybe
Right.
you can bring in Darlin Souza to do some stuff for Wallace on the right side, but definitely on the left side they're struggling a bit and down the middle as well. But 100%, this to me this is Cachopa's team right now, and there's no way, like, if they start Bruno in this one, that's a red flag for me for Brazil.
I agree, totally agree. So what's your pick? Are you gonna pick Brazil 3-2?
No, I'm picking Brazil 3-1.
Okay. Do I want to pick the upset here? No, I'm going to go with Brazil, and I'm going to go with 5. Brazil 3-2. I think this Iranian team has 5 sets written all over them this tournament.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, last but not least, on that same side of the bracket, a pretty spicy one. Serbia versus Argentina. Serbia, the 4 seed, had a comically easy pool. Argentina, the 13 seed, had one of the most chaotic pools we've ever seen at this tournament. That's Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And I called it the other day. I'm going to stick by it. I think Argentina wins this match. I think this has serious upset potential.
The more I think about it, the more I think so too. Just because, like, as you said, Serbia's kind of had a cakewalk through this tournament. Like, they haven't been punched in the mouth once, whereas Argentina's been repeatedly punched and repeatedly beat up. Like, they are battered and bruised, but they're also weathered. Like, they know what to expect, and they even went to 5 against Egypt, right? They went to 5 in all 3 of their matches. So let's just call it, they're going to go to 5 again in this one. But I don't know if Serbia has what it takes to really like Serbia doesn't have the go-to right side and the over dominating power. Like, they're good everywhere and they're powerful everywhere. But I think that Argentina's skill level is going to be able to play with them. I really think so. And if you can get DeCecco setting a good game, Conte going off, Lima going off, I think it's going to be interesting. And let's be honest, like, if there's one team that is going to crumble, I think, when there's pressure put onto them, I think it's Serbia.
I think you made a great point that Serbia hasn't really seen that pressure so far this tournament. Their pool was so easy that they just didn't really have to face up against any challenges. And Argentina, like you said, quite the opposite. I still am not convinced by this Argentina team for all the reasons that we've said in the last couple shows. They've really, really struggled to score points on serve this tournament, and they've served the ball horribly. They've made way too many service errors. So yeah, I think Bruno Lima needs to be great. I think Facundo Conte needs to be great, and the guys have just got to serve the ball in the court. But if that happens, I think there's a real chance that Argentina can keep the ball alive for long enough to really score some points against this Serbian team.
100%. Also, Donani needs to be lights out, right?
Yeah.
He needs to, against the Serbian team. Like, I think there's nothing more that depletes them than a big dig. And if Donani can get a big dig on, like, on Tanasiewicz early, maybe one of the big dig just off a straight up quick in the middle, where he just scoops Lisniak or Podraskinin right off the bat, I think that can be a huge momentum swing for this Argentinian team. And that's what I think. It's going to be 2 emotional teams, 2 teams that rely on their skill and their physicality and their athleticism. Neither of them are really true, like, systematic teams. So I think this one is going to be an emotional one. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Donani has had the best summer. I don't
agree.
think he was that good in VNL. I don't know if he's been that good this tournament. I think he's done a little bit too much talking and not enough playing. But if Argentina's got a chance, I'm right there with you. If he digs a couple balls, could be huge, and especially dependent on the moment. Yeah, it's been a while for this Serbian team. They've got a lot of talent. They were always a tournament threat, but that was 5-6 years ago or so that the world kind of feared this Serbian team. They've been disappointing since. So maybe it's been long enough since they've been in a moment like this that Argentina can steal one.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, I think that whichever team comes out of this goes up against Brazil in the next round probably is probably going to die. But I mean, hey, I think Argentina has something to prove in this one, and I think they're going to truly go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of a disappointing round of 16 if there were zero upsets. We almost had the Turkey over USA one today. Other than that, there hasn't really been much of a threat of an upset. So I think I just kind of want to pick Argentina, and I'm going to do it in 5 again because got to stick with the pattern at this point.
Yeah, 100%. And plus the rankings on this one is really skewed, right? Just based off of these pools. Like
Yeah.
Argentina is not the 13th best team. Serbia is not the 4th best team. They're much closer to somewhere in the middle. And I think that's be good. Real quick, I'm just going to do a quick call out to all of our fans out there. We have like 90 plus people watching. We have over 350 people have tuned in, and we only have 13 likes on this video. So if you want to support us and you don't want to like go to thatvolleyballstore.com, you don't want to, go bet with BetUS, just give us a like on the video, share it to a friend, give us some support. We would appreciate it, and it would help us out a lot.
And if you're not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Like we say it all the time that this is the level of coverage that this tournament deserves that Volleyball World themselves
Even more.
won't even do.
Even more,
Yeah.
right? Like,
They should be doing they should be doing one of these courtside literally every day, and they're not. And
they should be doing they should have 2 studios, one in Poland, one in Slovenia, and they're just going to go back and forth between the 2 studios. Like seriously, I've seen junior hockey tournaments covered better than this. Like for teenagers, why is this the level we get for the world damn championships? It's so frustrating.
well, we're doing what we can at Volleyball Source, and we appreciate your support. So Everett's right. Our viewership numbers have been phenomenal. And yeah, already 10 more people have liked the video since you asked them to. So continue to do that. It helps our videos reach more people, get more coverage, get more people following the tournament the way that we think they should be.
Yeah, I mean, we can start it like to traditional YouTubers, be like, "What's up, guys? Smash that like button if you want to see what's next." Or you guys could just do it because you love us.
I'm glad you stopped that. Otherwise, I might have had to mute you again.
That would be fun, eh?
So before we wrap up, I mean, it's been kind of a shorter show. We haven't had quite as much to talk about, and we'll be back on Tuesday after these next 4 matches. Got any takes, Everett, just kind of on the tournament so far?
Overall,
Let's open it up a little bit.
Overall, I think it's kind of been a bit of a lackluster tournament. Like other than the Bulgaria versus Mexico match, I think that would be massive. Like I think that was huge, but I was really hoping for some more drama. Not too much drama yet, and I'd like to see more. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a very pedestrian tournament so far. Let's say is that fair? Like
I think that's fair. Yeah, like we talked about it a little on the show the other day, but I think it's going by too quickly. I don't like the way that the seeds ended up, especially because the pool play phase was so short, and then because every team was only playing 3 matches in pools, the tiebreakers all became so crazy close because the sample size wasn't that high. You made the suggestion the other day that I liked, and say do 4 pools of 6 instead of 6 pools of 4, but then do the same thing, like go right to a bracket of 16 after that, but lengthen the tournament a little bit. I think that would help, and I just need more coverage. I need them to do more coverage. I need them to treat this like it's the biggest tournament that they run, they being Volleyball World and the FIVB, because it is. This is the second most prestigious thing that you can win in volleyball behind only the Olympics. And for events that the FIVB and Volleyball World directly produce, this is it. And I just don't feel that. I feel like I felt more effort from them for VNL this year.
I mean, you're not wrong, right? Like they have a VNL like Instagram account, but they don't have a World Championships Instagram account. Like it's like maybe they just need like an FIVB or like Volleyball World Men's Indoor and a Volleyball World Women's Indoor. Like they have the beach one, but yeah, like it's just overall frustrating. Like the level of commentary. I mean, we don't need to keep on talking about it.
I actually do need to talk about that a little bit.
It's uniquely subpar. Like just watching, being like listening to the commentary, just be like, well, no one in the volleyball world would have thought that Cuba and Italy would have given such a good game. And it was like, no, you idiot. Anyone in the volleyball world could have told you that Cuba and Italy was going to give a good game. Literally anyone in the volleyball world could have told me, like, all of those Cuba's players are going to play in the best league in the world next year. And you're telling me it wouldn't be a good one? Like, like just like take your head out of your ass, do a little bit of research, watch maybe one of our or two of our shows. Like big shout out to the commentator for the Pan Am Cup in Gatineau. He was prepping for games. I'd walk by him and he's literally watching like Volleyball Source content in our shows to get ready for these games. And I'd be like, hey, let's just take out the middleman, hire me instead. But like
Right.
just do a little bit of research, guys, please. And let's please stop being like, oh, that was a fantastic volleyball match, not give anything to add. Like, it's so frustrating.
I'm totally with you. I think that Dave Rogers and Clayton Lucas are in Poland. I think they've done a better job, but the guys in Slovenia, quite frankly, terrible and not even close to what this tournament deserves. You're right. Do research. Talk. You have to just know things, basic things about the game of volleyball itself and what's going on in the world of volleyball. You need to know who these players are. You need to know some of these storylines. You need to know things about like why this world championship matters. And these people just don't know anything. They treat a given match like it's just a match in a vacuum, and they talk about that only and nothing else. And oh my God, I can't sit here anymore and listen to people just butcher names. I can't listen to it anymore. I can't listen to people pronounce it Stephen Boyer when he's a Frenchman who it is clearly pronounced Stéphane Boyer. And I don't speak French. That language has been hard for me. But
That was pretty good. That was pretty good pronunciation. I like that.
Thank you. I've put a lot of work into learning how to pronounce things in different languages. Turkish gave me trouble for a long time, but I did research. I did one Google search and I figured it out. Do some Google searches. Give these players some respect. God, I can't listen to it anymore. It's so frustrating because, yeah, you could either do a couple Google searches or watch this show and you would learn everything you need to know to make your coverage better. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is truly embarrassing, but it just comes down to this is why the Make Volleyball Great series exists, because the people who run volleyball don't believe in volleyball. They don't understand it. Their view, and I've heard this so much from so many people. It's like, oh, well, we know the volleyball fans are going to be there. We know they're going to show up. We know they're going to watch. And then at the end of the tournament, it's just like, well, where were all the volleyball fans? Why didn't they show up? Well, maybe because we have an apathetic fan base that has never been catered to. When you watch a match, it's be like, the libero is the player with the opposite color jersey, and he passes the ball. Like, that's the level of commentary that we get. Or we get guys who just laugh because they don't have no clue what's going on.
They're laughing.
Like they just watch and react like it's a soccer game. Like, oh, wonderful, stupendous, what drama. Like, no, like let's get in there. Let's get nitty gritty. Let's know the players. Let's tell stories. Let's tell the story of the game. And the guys who are doing that just can't do it.
Let's know the rules too, please. Know the rules. Know the format of the tournament. Don't talk to Ben Josephson and after going down 2 sets in a match that he has to win, saying, "Oh yeah, you guys are already through to the next round. This is just for seeding." What is that? How does that affect your outlook on the match? And get corrected by the coach saying, "No, that's incorrect. We need to win this set or we're going home." Be better than that. Know what a back row attack is. Know that the libero can't overhand set in front of the 3-meter line. Know the difference between. Oh my God. Real examples.
My favorite moments too, and when there's a specific, let's say the specific color person who's supposed to be like the volleyball expert, and then you have the English guy when like, oh, this player and this player, we're expecting a big matchup, and the color guy just goes, yeah, that I've heard so many times from the one color guy that we have. We're not going to mention his name, but still, it's just like, bro, add some context, add absolutely anything. Like, at least you've got a volleyball person there who's sort of describing what's happening, but it's at like a very basic level. It's like it's at a level that, like, if I was sitting in the stands with like one of my like 15U teams and being like, see, he hit over top of the block and he went into the back corner. That was a really nice shot. Like, that's all it is all day long. It's so frustrating.
We've got to be better. And unfortunately, I don't really see it getting all that much better. I mean, we'll see who gets the call to do the finals when it gets to Poland for the Final Four. I hope that's ever so slightly better. But yeah, especially the guys that have been in Slovenia, those matches have been rough to listen to. Rough to listen, especially when you and I are sitting on the other side of the world just waiting to get asked to do that tournament. Yikes.
Yeah. And like we would like not only just do games, but we would do so much more for them. Like they're missing out. Finn Taylor, once you want some actual professionalism, and once you want to actually grow the game to your audience, you guys have this big deal with the CVC, and you guys want to do something with them, let us know. We'll give you a hand, because clearly it's not working for you
Our
guys.
Instagrams are on the screen.
Clearly it's not working for you guys.
Enough complaining. There are good matches still to be played in the World Championship. It's
Tons.
still the second biggest tournament on the planet. It still only happens once every
And,
4 years.
The
Still a lot
best
of
matches are
drama.
coming.
Yes, they are. And
The best matches, like this is like with the next four quarter or round of 16s, all the quarterfinals -1, and even that one's still going to be a good one to watch, right? Like, and the semifinals, like this is the shifting point from the shitty matches to the best matches of the tournament.
That's exactly right. And so once again, tomorrow in Slovenia, Ukraine versus Netherlands, France versus Japan. Tomorrow being Monday. Then Tuesday, you got Brazil versus Iran and Argentina versus Serbia. Those are 4 really, really good matches. And I do hope that the tournament kind of goes up a notch from this point forward. And I think that it will. And we'll be back on Tuesday night here on this very show to break down those 4 matches and then preview the quarterfinals, because you're right, Everett. It's been a little bit of a lackluster tournament. I think pool play left a lot to be desired, but we're going to turn up the heat on this World Championships a little bit. And I think in a couple days on Tuesday when we come back, we're going to have a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough good teams to have 6 pools of 4 like the way we did, right? I like the 4 pools of 6, because you get some spicy matchups in the first round. You get some interesting stuff. And you know what? Like, looking at so many of these pools, it was just like, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Every single pool had like a definitive, this is the 4th place team, maybe except for Pool E, like Canada's pool with Turkey, Canada, and China. Obviously, China turned out being like one of the worst teams. Like they didn't even get a cookie because they shouldn't have been participating. But yeah, like other than that, like every single one was just like, who's going to lose. And I kind of want some drama in it, and there was very little drama. There's been very little drama. Some pretty good volleyball, very little drama.
Yeah, and I could have done without even a little bit of the USA drama earlier today, because that might have taken a year off my life. But here I am. Here the U.S. is in the quarterfinals. We'll talk about that match on Tuesday. So, yeah, enjoy the matches the next couple of days. Join the Discord. We'll be talking about all of them. The Discord link is in the description. Everett, anything else before we send the people off until Tuesday?
No, go support us at thatvolleyball.store. If you haven't already, please give us a like on this video. As Rob said, our next show is going to be live Tuesday. Are we going to go 7:30 p.m. again on Tuesday?
Sure.
Yeah,
the usual.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. We'll go normal 9x9 time, 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday. And guys, this is a big week. We're doing 3 shows this week: one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, one on Sunday. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you come support. And thanks for joining us. Check out the Discord. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Have a good weekend, people. See you Tuesday.
Peace.